Let's talk about it. Come on and shout it. I talk, you talk, we talk. Women talk life. It ain't no surprise. Baby, you could see if you would open up your eyes. You won't understand if you can't open up your mind. So let's stop wasting time when women talk live.
And welcome to another episode of Women's Talk Live Overnights. I'm your girl, April J.
I'm SassyScribe.
And this is Elle, Boogie.
And on today's show, we started talking before, and we were like, oh shit, you know what? Let's save it for the show. But today we're talking about the manosphere and male loneliness. From my understanding, there was a documentary. I didn't get a chance to see it.
Fantastic.
Oh, okay.
Very interesting.
Nice.
With Kimberly having sons, I cannot wait to hear your input. I really can't wait to hear your input.
Yeah. All right. So, but before we get into that, we're wrapping up Women's History Month. So, I'm going to end it off with about 4 different women. The first one is Elena Cordano Picaska, and she became the first woman in the world to earn a PhD in 1678 in a subject women weren't even expected to study, which was math and philosophy. She defended her degree so brilliantly that the university had to move her exam to a larger hall to fit the crowd.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Amazing.
Okay.
Yeah. And the second one is Nettie Maria Stevens, and she was a quiet powerhouse who helped discover the X and Y chromosomes to determine the biological sex. Working with tiny mealworms for years, a male colleague got most of the credit, but modern historians now recognize her as a key founder of the chromosome science. All right, and moving on, we have Grace Hopper. She is a Navy mathematicianist who helped create some of the first computer programs and the idea of writing code in words instead of just numbers. Her work led to COBOL, a language that still runs big banks and governments, earning her the nickname Grandma of COBOL.
Okay.
I agree say, isn't that COBOL? I remember that was the first thing we learned in data processing.
Yep.
Right?
I remember that.
old that was.
Yep. Yeah, I did that to see if y'all would know what it was. That's why I spelled it out to see if y'all would know what that was. But yeah, she's known as the Grandma of COBOL.
Remember when in data processing when it would come out and it would just be those little like divots in the paper?
Yes.
Jesus, we are old.
She came up with that. Yep.
Wow.
All right, so this is kind of like little fun fact, but this is about the Mona Lisa missing eyebrows. The Mona Lisa famous face originally had eyebrows and eyelashes, but centuries of aging and cleaning likely made them fade away. High-tech scans show that Leonardo da Vinci painted them, even if we barely see them now. And she was believed to be known as Lisa del Cardano, a merchant's wife whose husband likely commissioned the portrait. Leonardo kept the painting instead of handing it over and slowly softened her expressions into the mysterious half smile we recognize today.
I'm going to say something that's going to be controversial.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
I ain't seen shit interesting about the Mona Lisa.
I mean,
maybe it's me. Maybe it's me, but all of these paintings that everybody's like lauding about, they don't move
It don't
me.
move
I
you.
don't know what it is. When I look at art has to, it doesn't move me. And if art doesn't move me or speak to me or make me feel a type of way, it's not art to me. It's just paint by numbers
Yeah,
on a wall. I'm gonna be
I
honest
think
with
that
you.
a lot of stuff like the Sistine Chapel and things like that are magnificent in as much as the difficulty in execution in terms of the
Hmm.
imagery that they're able to portray, like a lot of modern architecture or past architecture. But like I agree with you, like the Mona Lisa, the girl with the pearl, none of those really draw me in terms of being like, and when you're little, they take you to the museums and you're looking at all this art. What I will tell you is a lot of black artists really do invoke
Yes.
emotion from me. I remember being
Yes.
in New Orleans, and the first piece of art that I ever bought, we went into this black artist's gallery, and there was a picture of a nightscape of New Orleans, and it was like of a train
Hmm.
going down a track, and
Hmm.
it was a dark painting. But immediately, like the first thing I was like, I want that painting. And the same thing happened at UB Blake. I went to do a walkthrough for a wedding, and there was a portrait hanging. And I've never in my life put in money like for art, but I was like, I need that painting. It was just, I don't know, like it spoke to me, like people say, but I've only gotten that from black art. So I don't know. I haven't really got it from
Yeah,
like, the famous
it's
art, Vinci, Michelangelo, all of those things.
Rothko's, and all of that. But I'm telling you, it's a couple here in Baltimore that we pulled that. What's that red string theory where there's 6 degrees of separation? And I remember, and I have two of his prints. And then they're just prints because the actual canvas I can't afford because they're like 4 or 5 grand. But I have his prints, and come to find out, his aunt used to do my baby sister and I's hair when we were growing up. She was a beautician down this way, and you've
You better
seen
call
some of the
her.
prints. She passed away a long time ago,
Oh,
but
don't call.
and the other one is Poncho Brown. Now I don't know if it's Poncho's from
Yes,
Baltimore or Philly, but Poncho's work really speaks to me
yes. I have a
because of
couple of
the.
those pieces.
I have a couple of
Correct.
his prints too.
Yeah,
Oh no,
yeah,
I have a
gliclade.
couple of
What do
those.
they call gliclades? The GLICEEs. I can't really pronounce it, but those are like his expensive prints that are numbered,
Mm-hmm.
and I have the certifications for
Yeah,
it's
we have a couple of those too.
yeah, I
them.
when I went to Tanzania, I
Oh.
I went and we went to this little small this guy had this little art gallery, and on the wall it was this huge painting, like
Mm-hmm.
huge. And when I saw it, it reminded me of the Good Times, the painting in Good Times.
Okay, yeah.
But it was a little different. But it
Mm-hmm.
had
Mm-hmm.
like it just had like the richness culture in
Mm-hmm.
Africa. And when I saw it, I was like, I looked at it and I was like, how much for that painting? And he just like looked at me and I was just like, yeah, how much for that painting? And I asked him, I said, is this the only one? And he was just like, yeah. He said, I couldn't paint that again. He was like, I just got up in the
Oh my
middle of the night
God,
and just painted
April.
it. So I was like, all right, I need you to sign it. And I took a picture with him with the painting. That
Okay.
painting is still rolled up to this day because he rolled it up because I have to get a
You
huge
have to give
canvas
it.
for it to
Yeah.
go on. So now with, praise the Lord, I'm moving. I can put that up on my wall, but it is huge and it's one of a kind. And
You
and
know
I
who does
also
a
bought
really
two
good.
other ones too.
You know who does a really good job at doing that, which I was really shocked by the mounting and what is it, the backing in the mountings and stretching the canvases was Michael's.
Yeah.
Okay.
They have a huge section in the back, but there's a place near me, but it's expensive as I don't know what. But the work that they do is, I mean, they'll put that on a canvas and then they'll put it in a case and they can put a light on it. Like But
Hmm.
that
Oh, I
might
might have
cost
to take
you
my other
$1,500.
courses.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
I
but
just
you
took a
know,
Michael's
woodworking
doesn't.
class.
yeah, but
I
I
just took a
have.
A
woodworking
what?
class to learn how to do framing and cutting boards and things because I want to, kind of, I don't want to say transition. I got a lot of creativity in me. So I want to, start exploring how to actually create things that people don't necessarily just eat. But I did want to go back to the painting that everybody knows from Good Times because everybody calls it the Good Times painting, but it's the Sugar
Mm-hmm.
Shack, and it's
Yeah,
by a
right.
gentleman named
Oh.
Ernie
Yep.
Banks or Ernie.
Yeah,
Hold on, let
Ernie
me find it.
Banks.
Ernie
It's
Ernie
Banks.
Banks.
Yep.
Ernie Banks. Thank you,
Hmm.
Ernie Banks. No, Ernie Barnes. Ernie
Oh,
Barnes
okay. Ernie
Barnes,
made the
Barnes.
Barnes, Barnes.
thing. But anytime you can get, I think that the difference in terms of black art versus any other culture is that it really invokes our history in terms of what we do and what we see when we're alone. Kind of like the conversations that we have off air. Those are
Mm-hmm.
safe spaces where that stuff is created to go into other safe spaces. And it just so happens that other people can see it and those emotions can resonate. Because for us as Black people, we are always culturally and familial in terms of how we look at things. Like there's the concept of the European I and the Afrocentric we. We are very much that Afrocentric we. So that art that we create really goes to the depths and lengths of like ancestry. Like our ancestors are speaking through some of
Mm-hmm.
those paintings, and
Mm-hmm.
that invokes that it touches something tangible in us because we can't when our feet are on the ground, like the electricity, the way we respond to the sun, not try to get all, hippie, but there's truth in the connection of people with melanin and the system itself in terms of solar system, galactical system, the world in and of itself rotates through us, resonates through us. And so I think that it's easier for us to see those things invoked in other people because it resonates first with us. And they get it, they're trying to get it, but that soul part is missing. Like the Mona
Yeah.
Lisa or the girl with the
You
pearl.
know,
Like I don't see
that's
that when I
that's one of the things that people don't understand what Bill Cosby did for the Cosby Show. If you
mm-hmm,
remember that one, the one picture that we saw, I've seen it called The Funeral Procession. I've seen it
mm-hmm.
called Beyond the Blues. But that one painting
Oh yeah,
made
I
people
know what you're
like, that's
talking
black
about.
art.
Yeah,
Everybody knows what
Yep.
we're talking about. And in different rooms, he had different black art
he did.
within, if it was the bedroom, the hallway, the kitchen,
Yeah,
their family room, he in his offices, he had some form of black art. Say what you want
Yeah.
about Bill Cosby,
I
he
was
was
getting
an
ready to say
open
the
secret.
same thing, girl.
He
yeah,
was
Black,
an
but they
open
could fix
secret in
it.
Hollywood, but what he did to instill positivity in us as growing up watching Fat Albert in the gang,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
He
The
he,
the
he
What
Jell-O
about
invoked
the
pudding
show
pop.
he
where he
invoked
talked
black
about black
pride.
people
He
in the
invoked
history
black
of black
pride.
people? He was
Black
bringing
pride.
that
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
He was
And
Yeah,
bringing that show
he
back when
brought
everything came out.
culture. He brought
he brought
culture to the
black culture.
forefront and
Yes, he
really
did.
kind of put it on display for everyone to
Yes.
see, to show
Yes.
that
Yes.
we weren't just now. Granted, I like Good Times, I like Sanford and Son, but he was showing that black people can also be professional, um,
Yep.
very
That it
accomplished
wasn't
black,
always a struggle.
and it wasn't. Yeah, and,
Yep.
It
they,
wasn't always a
and
struggle.
You
he,
raised your kids. Your
yeah,
kids had
right.
issues, but you
So,
worked on them as a family because they weren't
so
perfect kids.
They weren't.
right,
They weren't. But you've never seen, or white people just couldn't imagine a black doctor married to a black lawyer with 5 children, and they're putting one in college or two and three of them in college.
right,
That was not something that they could really wrap their brains around. So the
right.
Cosby Show, I remember 8 o'clock on Thursdays was Cosby Show
It was
night, and
Cosby
we
Show.
watched it
Right.
when my father wasn't, because my father was a truck driver, right? So he did local and long distance. So if he was home, all four of us watched it. But if not, it was me and my mom and my sister. My mother
Yeah.
had to take care of her baby sister. But we watched the Cosby Show. It
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
and then after
Right.
that, it was a different world. And then living
Think
single,
of how
all of
many
that.
people were influenced to go to college from watching a different world. If you look
Yes.
at the number, and one thing I will say, I can personally say to how it spoke to me in terms of what yard life was and what it looked like, and thinking of how much fun it would be to go there. And then I look at where we are now. And I'm an alumni of Coppin State University. Go Eagles.
Okay.
And they are one of the largest growing colleges in Maryland. We graduate more people. We've had the highest enrollment, and people are going towards HBCUs, especially when all that right before the DEI. How many white people were going to HBCUs on scholarships, going to black
On
colleges,
minority scholarships, mind you,
minority scholarships?
minority
Exactly.
scholarships.
So, and you can't talk about the level of equity because our HBCUs are on par with their Ivies,
Hmm.
easy, in terms of Tuskegee, in terms of Morehouse, in terms of Spelman, Clark Atlanta, Morgan State, Hampton, Bowie, Howard
Meharry
University.
Medical College. Meharry Medical
Thank you,
College.
Meharry. My cousin goes to Meharry. Shout out to you, Michi. But yeah, my cousin goes to Meharry Medical College. It's amazing the amount of black talent. I'm so glad that they brought back the Tuskegee program because it really allows us to take advantage of our own destiny without having to be around people who, one, don't understand us, who, two, we always have to code switch around to be in an environment that is authentically geared towards you and your experiences.
Hmm.
I can't speak enough because when I did my grad degree, I did my grad degree at both University of Baltimore, historically white university, and
Hmm.
Coppin State University. And
HBCU.
my classes, in terms of the conversations that were had, were entirely different. It was like I had to explain the black experience every time I answered a question, every single time. And so it just becomes where I really appreciate what we do. I love that Women's Talk is black women speaking from a myriad of experiences because we're not cut from the same cloth, although we came from the same manufacturer, if that makes sense.
Girl, see, this is why I love you, KL. Yes. 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 Indeed. And
That's
listen,
all.
I know we kind of like took it a little left, as I would say. As we would say on
Yeah,
that
yeah, we don't. Yeah,
yeah, we took it a little left, but what we
yeah.
really want to talk about, y'all, is the manosphere. So I was reaching out to April J and KL sometime last week, and I was telling them about this documentary that I watched on Netflix, and it's called The Manosphere. So basically, the manosphere has evolved from a niche collection of forms into this, and this really is this massive digital ecosystem that is largely fueled by a growing sense of isolation. You can substitute incels if you want among young men. While it offers a sense of brotherhood and self-improvement advice, it is a polarizing space where valid feelings of loneliness often collide with reactionary rhetoric. So you see more and more of these young boys. It reminds me of
Hmm.
the MAGA phenomenon and the MAGA call. White people felt, don't ask me how, motherfuckers felt marginalized. I can't figure it out because you start off everything on third fucking base and then you fucked it up by not being able to steal home. Okay. And they have these young boys who are now indoctrinated. They're unfuckable. They don't know how to talk to women. They don't know how to approach women. They may be short. They may be scrawny and nature. And then they see these ultra hyped up alpha, what they deem as alpha males, which are really just little insecure bitches who have found a way. And this is the opinion of SassyScribe. April J and KL may not agree with me. Women Talk Live, we're going to go ahead and put that disclaimer out there. The views and opinions that are addressed on this panel, but when I look at them, and we all know them. You got the Passport Bros. You had I don't even really want to get these bitches at their energy, but it's a bunch of them that are out here, and they ascribe to the mindset that women have one purpose and one purpose only: to be fucked. Well, more let me rephrase that. The purpose of women is to fuck them, feed them, and leave them the fuck alone. To fuck and
And clean
other
up.
women and
And
clean
clean
up.
up.
That's what I'm saying. Do the laundry. Don't ask questions. The way in which they have this mindset of quote unquote a one way monogamous relationship, and to see these women,
That was cute. That
what?
was cute. I like how they tried to make that a cute thing, a one-way monogamy. Oh,
Oh
Okay,
well,
I'm
yeah,
gonna say, what the
a
fuck is
one-way monogamous relationship. The
it's
one-way
bullshit.
monogamous relationship is basically he gets to be non-monogamous, but you must remain monogamous because no man wants a woman that has multiple sex partners. Like remember that one boy? Okay, so the one dude is called HK Tiki Taki. I think he got like 13
HS,
million
HS,
followers. HS HS
HS
Tiki
Tiki
Taki.
Tok.
I think he has. I looked it up. I think he has 13 million followers on TikTok.
Oh Jesus.
And what he does is, which is really he's scamming people, but these little dumb boys don't realize that. So he's telling them, he's showing them this flashy life and how he's moving around and he's flying to this place, he's flying to that place, and he got this Lambo and he got this Ferrari and he got all of these girls, right? Not really caring that the girls that he has around him are OnlyFans girls. And then they're just like, okay, all right, oh yeah, he's great. He's like, bitch, like these are the type of women that they
Wow.
get. But it's that KO. You watched it. Do you agree with me when I say it's all for clicks and lights? It's like once they realize the formula to make money, they
Oh,
double down
definitely.
on that
I don't
bullshit, and
think
it's
I don't think they align themselves with what they put out there.
no,
If
no,
we're talking, even if we look at that HS Tiki Taki, um, there was at the end of the documentary there was scenes with him and his mom, and she has him cleaning up the floor. She's like, I don't want this here, and don't you talk to me like that because it's an impression of me. And even when he's talking to Thoreau, who's the director of the documentary, he
right.
says, well, my mom isn't this way. My mom would slap me if I said these things. So generally, and he said it himself, a lot of it is for clicks and
It is.
clout. They don't
Mhm.
necessarily align themselves. But even when we look at the women who are put, or who allow themselves, I should say, because I don't want to take the autonomy from women just because men abuse it.
Right.
Um, I think that the women who choose to be in these circumstances themselves are already have issues, and hurt people. I don't think, like he's saying, he doesn't respect OnlyFans girls, but he makes money off of them. I
Mm.
mean, that's capitalism,
Yeah.
Yeah.
pure and
I mean,
simple. And he
he
says it
even said
outright.
that he would
So,
never but didn't he KO? He said he would never bring those women home to his mother.
oh, no,
Never.
no, no,
He was like, I would never
no.
bring them home and I would never marry them. He literally
But like the
showed the
girl that gave
man,
him head in a bathroom
yes,
stall and he recorded
and he
her.
videotaped
So
it.
yeah, we can't say that these women don't exist. We cannot say that
They
because, like I
do.
said before, because we are all manufactured by the same person, we're not all cut from the same cloth. There are some women, and I hate to say it this way, but I generally feel this way. That a lot of white women are more susceptible to that behavior because it is geared in them to utilize their sexuality, to utilize their looks, to find a guy, even when they're younger. Having a high body count's not an issue. Black women are raised differently. We were raised to be chaste. We were raised to be modest. We were raised to be, and a lot of that, believe it or not, still comes from slavery because we didn't want massa to be looking at our young daughters, to be taking them to the big house, to be fucking them at night, or coming down to the slave quarters and fucking our
And raping
daughters.
them.
We
And
have
it
to
ain't
teach
no,
them
say it what it was. Say it was the master, because I
raping.
got this, I got yelled at about this yesterday. He was like,
Raping,
they wouldn't
yes.
have, they was raping the slave women
Raping our
and their
daughters.
daughters.
Yeah. So I'll say this. This is my own family dynamic. My great grandfather, my great grandparents are from Mississippi. My grandmother's from Mississippi. And my grandmother always told the story of her youngest daughter, my Aunt Maudine, who the white guy who owned the property adjacent to theirs had told my great grandfather, yeah, send Mammy down here because he wanted to sleep with my grandfather's youngest daughter. My great grandfather told him, come and get her. And he shot him. He shot him. He didn't kill him. I mean, real talk. This is within my he shot him. He didn't kill him, but we wound up having to relinquish a lot of land because of that incident. It changed the dynamics, but that's how women are today. Like even us, when we go out, we're not allowed to have, to talk about our sexuality. I mean, granted, Sassy, I have the highest respect for you because you embrace your sexuality. You're not defined by
Hmm.
somebody's expectations. But theoretically, most black women have been subjugated to always having to be chaste, be modest, to not, openly perpetuate what our own
Don't
desires
right.
are, what our own sexuality is. White women are given those boundaries. So they're allowed to explore, to do this, to do that, and everything's acceptable for them, but
We
it's
see
not
it in real
acceptable.
time, but we saw it in
And
real
so that
time with
manosphere embraces that. It embraces that. That's why those young guys are running up to them in the streets like they're,
superstars.
BTS. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
But when you talk about the promiscuity of black women, we saw that in real time, and we still see it right now. And if we can use the K family who did the sex tape and went from virtual obscurity to these
Yep.
fucking A-listers for just fucking existence, they don't do shit. They have zero
No,
talent.
they
But
do.
they
Their
made a
talent is to maximize that algorithm that allows people
well,
to go down those rabbit holes, like you were discussing earlier, and go
yes.
into that whole mindset and allow men to continue that perpetual mindset that women are to be used and viewed only as sexual objects and domesticated people.
but
And so they align themselves.
but I will say, even though, yeah, I get they built their empire. Honestly, that their mother was brilliant with doing it. I got to
Oh,
give her props
A
for it.
female Joe Jackson.
She was brilliant with doing it. She took a situation that could have been really bad for her daughter and whatever. Because I mean, her father was the famous lawyer that got O.J. Simpson off. So
mm-hmm.
my thing is, she took something and made a major business out
Took
of it.
lemons and
You
made
can't take
lemonade.
that. You
Yeah, she
cannot
took
take
lemons
that
and
away
made
from them.
lemonade.
I mean, you look at it now; they done build brands, as far as makeup, modeling, reality shows, this, that, and
Shapewear,
other. Yeah,
shapewear.
I mean,
But
even
that's
even.
because it goes to that
But the thing
manosphere
is,
algorithm.
the thing is,
Everything is about the sexuality of those
I,
women.
I get that, but we
Everything
can't.
about it.
I get that, and I understand that, and I understand how us as black women have been. But in the same sense, I don't want to get it twisted. We do have some black women out here who are just as, with their sexuality. Because you look at Sexy Red and Megan Thee Stallion
Megan Thee
and
Stallion.
all these other people. So I think, and this
But
is
if you,
for all women, but you do have those women out there, regardless of what their nationality is, that will let these men marginalize them, let these men make
objectify,
them as
Objectify.
these, sex whatever, and these women are allowing it. They're
it is.
So let me
allowing.
ask you this. I have a question for you and Sassy. So when we talk
Hmm.
about the dynamics of black women and white women who exhibit this behavior, do you not find, because I find that a lot of times black women have to be more raunchy, more gaudy, more um
No. Mm-mm.
risque?
But nope. When I
Because when
listen
I'm
to,
looking at,
go ahead.
well,
I'm sorry.
first of all, we don't have a lot of female rappers, so I'm not looking at it from that aspect. I'm just talking
Mm-mm.
about the way in which our sexuality is portrayed. Like, what was the lady? Um, Autabanga, is that her name? That was taken by a Leopold and put in the circus because of her big derriere.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah. That was, oh my God. That's history
I
that they
thought her
probably
name's
don't even teach anymore.
Autabanga, or something like that. I'm gonna look it
Okay.
up just to be sure. But yeah, that's what I mean by, even when we try to perpetuate our sexuality, it always has to be to the extreme. It's never
Well,
it's
I
never
think
eased out.
what I see is when we talk about that one particular family, what I see is that they are allowed to use their sexuality, and Megan the Stallion and it is denigrated for the same thing. All she do is shake her ass, but so these bitches was on camera fucking dudes. All she did was shake her ass and twerk. And
A
the
big
other thing with
beautiful
this,
ass.
the other thing with this whole male loneliness and this manosphere is that they look at the fact that this woman being in love now and this man openly being in love with her, she don't deserve it because she shook her ass. But these bitches over here, they suck the life out of black men, and black men can't wait to run over there to tell somebody that they done ran up in them. So
Yep.
I don't get this mindset. So with this the manosphere and the male loneliness epidemic, they said the loneliness epidemic rose in social isolation among men. It really started during COVID. COVID really exposed how human connection was important to everybody, right? But it really and truly made men realize that they liked that physical connection, they liked that physical touch. And not only were they not having any intimate relationships, they didn't even have any friendships. As you notice that men don't know how to have a conversation with men anymore, women anymore. You know that because they have this social media, so they do everything with that. So that social media has made them even more isolated. So the manosphere appeals to their agency, even though this shit ain't real. Talk about going to the gym, financial literacy, and social skills. And then Kim, what you mentioned earlier was the algorithm. The algorithmic rabbit holes like the red pill. And everybody knows from the Matrix, you take the red pill or the blue pill. And these broadcasters are capitalizing on that. And it seems like the more controversial statements you make, those are the ones that go viral, right? And those are the ones that people pay attention to the most. So, and then that other thing is the shared grievances. So, a true alpha male doesn't run around telling people they're alpha.
Thank you.
They show
You
Governor
feel it.
Westmore. Governor Westmore is an alpha male. Barack Obama is an alpha. You can see it. It's the way in which they carry themselves. It's their presence.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? You can
Right.
Yep.
see that they're
Right.
alpha because Governor Gavin Newsom. You can see they are those men exude that. My friend, we know men. My brother is an alpha male. He doesn't have to go around saying I'm an alpha male and pounding his
Right.
chest.
Right.
Yep.
To me
But
that
And
goes
it's
that's
funny
more to
because
me that goes
I
more
have
to
sons.
people's self-esteem. Like if
that's
you
what it
got to
is.
go around and do that, that's because you're not confident in yourself, and that
You a
just
bitch.
shows me that yeah, you a bitch. And
Bitch assness.
and that to me is not attractive. If you
It's
don't have
not.
any type of presence about yourself and you got to show me that, then I'm turned off completely. You ain't got
Completely.
shit to
I used
tell
to
or say
always
to me.
say, what was the, it's real
Soft
thugs move
spoken.
in silence. It's not a
Yes.
matter of,
Yes.
and it's not, you can substitute real men for thugs or whatever. It's just the term. But that's how it is. You don't have to tell somebody who you are if you are who you say you are because it emanates from you.
Yep.
I do want to make 2 points. One, the first one was Otter Banger. Otter Banger was the little boy that they had sharpened his teeth and put in the zoo and made his teeth like, um,
Vampires.
man, yeah, and all of his teeth, shaved his teeth down, and had him like in a zoo for people to look at. But Sarah Bartman was the lady
That's her name. Yeah.
that they put in the zoo and took her around, and because she had a big butt. But going back to the manosphere, I have sons who I've really tried to raise to be really respectful of women because my relationship with my sons is really the most important relationship I have in terms of my dynamic with the opposite sex. And
Hmm.
I say that because my sons had to learn how they are to carry themselves and how they are to treat women because of how they experience life with their mother. Now, I'm very fortunate that when I met my husband, he had two daughters. And so my sons got to really experience the strength of a woman. And I always say that kind of jokingly because I'm like, their sisters used to beat them up and make them do the dishes and stuff like that, their chores. But they sisters also were their biggest protectors. So they understood if something went wrong, they could always go to their sisters. They could go to their mother, their aunt, their grandmother. But they also have nieces which allows them to see the frailty of a woman and to understand how to be sensitive to a woman. Like the way they are with their nieces and how they would
Hmm.
roughshod with their nephews versus how they are with their nieces, they're a lot more delicate. It allows them to tap into that. But I say all that to say is that as a parent, I allow them the space to understand both the ability to have to protect a woman, to understand that a woman can one kind of protect herself, but also the
Hmm.
nuances of what's in between because we are complex, because we're not as simplistic as, go here and do that. They've never seen their mother be just a cleaner or a domesticant. They've always seen me grind. They've always seen me hustle. And so they can respect that in somebody else that they see it in. But objectively, my sons aren't being raised by the Tate brothers or HS Tiki Taki. Like they hear those things, they've
Or
seen those
Fresh
things.
and Fit, or Red
Yeah.
Pill, or
And
Passport
they
Bros.
disagree with those. Yeah. Like my sons are even stuff that I say that might be a little off color, I'll say,
Hmm.
they
Hmm.
check me on it because they feel like, they're more open to everybody having a right to autonomy. So I'm proud of who I put in the world. But when you have these guys that are like all of these bros and the bruv that he's running for, that bruv political party or whatever, they're all
No, what
just
is that?
miserable guys. When you look at them, everything around them is transactional. Everything around them, the people around them are transactional. They're only there because they have money and likes. The girls are only there because they're trying to build up their OnlyFans profile. So they have no concept of what real love is or
True
what
connection
reality is
Yeah.
and
because they
friendships.
live,
Right.
yeah, they live in an artificial environment where everything is really based on
Transaction.
what goes on a social media stream. It has nothing to do with the day to day. And so people looking at them that have to live a day to day, like the poor little guy that was talking about he was homeless and he doesn't believe in depression, but his brother committed suicide. How do you reconcile those? How do you reconcile?
Jesus.
Why would your brother commit suicide if he wasn't depressed? But you're following these guys who are telling you depression isn't real, that you got to go out and make it on your own. Now, don't get me wrong, some of the stuff they talked about, I find validity in. I do. Because we live in a man generated society, I do feel like women's value is based on our looks, our
Yep.
shape,
Yep.
things of that nature. That's what our value is because that's
And it
the
stops
nature of the
there.
culture that we're
Yeah.
in.
But it
But
stops right there. And we
no,
also got to look. We also got to look at the fact, Kim. When you say that, we got to look at also what's going on when we have a company like the fucking Heritage Foundation creating laws that completely push women out of the workforce, out of
Mhm.
the education
yeah,
force, and really and truly want women barefoot and pregnant,
Yeah.
like fucking the Handmaid's Tale coming to
Right.
life and creating a
that's it.
Gilead, and then you have our Congress people that are supposed to be by the people, for the people, and of the people, these elected officials whose it's all about money for them. It's
That's good.
all about
That's
But you
money
got
yeah.
for them.
women who
That's
are
And
because
putting
that's
and
themselves
because
with that
yeah, you have
mentality.
these
Women are putting themselves in that. White women in
white
particular are
women,
aligning themselves with that mentality. Just like
yes,
in
they
the
are.
Handmaid's Tale, it originated from a white woman's
White women.
mentality that this is
Yep.
what she wanted until it actually came to fruition. This is what they asked for. So this
Yep.
is what they're getting. We never
this
had a
is what
say.
this is what the Zionists wanted.
This is
And
what the Zionists wanted,
this is
but
what the Zionists wanted.
they don't count on the audacity of the millennials and the generation after them, when they are the generation of you can't tell me what to do.
Mhm. Mhm.
I mean, seriously,
Exactly.
Yeah.
if you think about, no one has more audacity than a teenager, right?
Yes. Yes. Or a young
But
person.
no one
Yeah.
has more audacity than an
Yep.
entitled white teenager. The
Hmm.
fuck? I bet you these
Yeah.
grandkids and these nieces and nephews are giving these
Oh, they
congressmen
put
the
them out there.
fucking
They
business.
put them out there all on social media. They
Yes.
put them out there. You
Yes.
seeing it. You're seeing it. And
What
you're
was
They
the
like,
giving
lady
them
who
the
used to
business.
do
I
for
bet you
Trump,
they
who used
making
to be his
Thanksgiving and Christmas just as
spokesperson? Her
miserable.
kid went off. She talked
Oh, you
about her
talking
mother
about?
and her father.
Oh, you talking about Kellyanne Conway?
Yes.
Kellyanne Conway,
Girl,
the girl. Kellyanne Conway went to school. She went to law school with one of these ladies that I follow on on social media, but she's a MSNBC. She used to be a CNN commentator, but now she's MSNBC or vice versa. But they used to go to law school. She said, this is all about money. She said, this is not who she is as the person that I know. She said, now we don't fool with each other anymore. She said, but trust and believe me, she's going to say whatever she needs to say to get money. It's all
Then she's
it's
just
all
as
about money.
culpable. There's no excuse
They
because the
don't, but they don't
vitriol that
care.
you're
No,
They
they
don't
don't
care.
care. They don't care.
If we look at, they didn't care about what's going on
then
with
don't tell
TSA
me that she doesn't
until their
believe that.
motherfucking asses had to stand in line for 4 hours. And then when Delta said, you ain't gonna be able to skip the line because Delta is the official airline for Congress,
Yeah.
which I didn't know that.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
Delta
yeah.
was
They were told they couldn't be rushed past
yeah,
security and all
no
this
more
stuff to get it.
rush.
Yeah, they couldn't do it
Listen,
because
And then
they didn't have the folks for it.
and you know what scared them the most? Having to stand in line with their constituents saying the fuck
Yes,
wrong with y'all.
exactly,
That's what
exactly.
scared them.
As they should, as
As
they
they should.
should.
they should.
And Delta,
Right.
in my opinion, Delta should make that shit permanent.
Yeah.
They should
Yeah.
make it
Right.
permanent.
I agree.
No
I
skipping
agree.
on,
I agree.
no skipping the line. I'm sorry,
All right.
y'all.
No,
But
no,
yeah,
no.
so
You're fine.
we got more stuff, but we probably have
Yeah,
to
we
do
gonna
it
have
like
to wrap up.
series.
Yeah.
But the statistics we didn't get to, Kim, um, talk to your sons and talk about those statistics, and maybe we can come back to that next week and talk about
Okay.
these male loneliness statistics and see what they actually have to say, because I found the statistics interesting. And I'm going to talk to some. Maybe I can get a couple fellas come on next Sunday is Easter.
Yeah, folks.
I'll
That's
call
the
my
only time
sons. I'll
people
see if
go to.
we can
That's
get
the only
them to come on.
people go to church.
God knows what they may say. I don't know. But yeah, I'll get my sons.
I mean, and it would be great because your sons are what, Gen X, Gen Z, because
They're
we're Gen X. What are
27 and
they?
28.
So they're millennials.
Yeah.
They're
And one's a single
millennials.
father.
Oh, definitely got to get them on. We can talk about that with their age,
Mhm.
and maybe I can get like how many people could we have to talk about this offline.
Yeah.
But that would be great to
We can do
really
it as a round table.
like we could get an older male perspective and these young guys perspective on, because they are the men. So because we see some 50-year-old men ascribing to this bullshit too now. Don't get
Acting
it twisted.
stupid.
They ain't just 20s.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, maybe
So
we could. Yeah, we definitely can put together a show for that.
yeah,
All
that would be
right.
awesome. Yes.
All right. So let me get into our last week's poll.
Ooh, okay.
Have you ever felt judged or disrespected because you are a Black woman? And 75% of Black women said yes. Yes.
That's it?
That's it.
But because the other 25% probably don't even recognize it. I think they're more like the Sage Steels and the Candace Owensons, that it doesn't exist,
Doesn't
technically.
exist. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm,
All
okay.
right. But this week's poll is, what do you think most contributes to male loneliness? So
Ooh.
that's our next
Start
poll
by
question.
being fuckable.
Hmm.
Or someone we can actually have a conversation
Or
with.
somebody you can have a conversation with.
Yeah.
Like, oh
Yeah.
my God.
Yeah.
And I see it. I see it with my boys. And I'm like, put your phone down and have a conversation. And they just look at you. I said, y'all ain't never gonna get no coochie.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah. Right.
Never.
All right.
I'm
So
gonna go on to the Funny Ranch in Vegas.
all right. So my final thought for the day is, this is a public service announcement for men. If you ever want to know what a woman's mind feels like, imagine a browser with 2,850 tabs open and about 1,500 open files all the
Facts.
time.
They don't understand that all
They
three
don't
of us right
understand.
now are 8 hours ahead of what we doing right now.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
8 hours
Even
ahead.
now, with doing this, I'm thinking about, okay, I know I gotta do this, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, and next week
When
yeah,
we finish this gotta happen. That
Every
gotta happen.
day.
Yes.
all the
Yes.
time,
Every
all the
day.
time, all the
Every
time.
day.
And in the
Every day.
meantime, I got like a million text messages coming through from my daughter
Mhm.
and stuff about my daughter's
Mhm.
wedding, and yeah. So,
There you go.
all right, y'all. So this is Women's Talk Live overnights with your girl April J.
I'm Sassy Scribe.
And I'm KL Boogie.
All right, y'all. We'll see y'all next week.
Peace.
Women talk live.